Eve paints.
Hey folks, welcome to another 3D printing Patreon preview. I have 235 campaigns to share with you this month. My Patreon is currently still paused, so I don't have any minis to offer my patrons, but I did want to mention two of my patrons' creations. The first is bLU.ART Miniatures. I don't think their Patreon is currently active, but they have a live Frontier campaign over on my mini factory right now, Unlife Necropolis. A modular terrain project that builds biomechanical themed dungeons and monolithic terrain structures for wargaming tables. Also, there are a bunch of cool biomechanical creatures, or machines. The perfect place for your alien hives to hide. The second is Forgemaster Studios. They have a small store on my mini factory where they have a few adventurers with a bunch of different variations. They had asked me to promote their summer sale, but summer is long gone, so I'm not sure if that's still active. Thanks a lot to bLU.ART Miniatures and Forgemaster Studios for having supported the channel when it was active. Quick content warning: some of these campaigns contain pinup style models. Link in the description to a video discussing why that needs a content warning. First up, this is Koa the Elder and the Storm of Dice Dice Tower from Ogoreg Miniatures. The Triceratops has the upper hand in this month's selection of dinos from Dino and Dog Miniatures. Animal Den Miniatures has an undersea collection this month with whales, sharks, manatees, and more. This is the Kraken Huntress from Clay Demon Miniatures. These are Lindra the Archmage and Alvin the Alchemist from Ernest Nemirovsky. Creature Armory has a new female predator bust. Kraken's Vault has a new Spirit of the Dragon set of dioramas, busts, and minis. Here's the latest release from bLU.ART Miniatures, a Huntress and a Vampire. Hell Creator has new Tifa and Zagreus busts and dioramas. Ritual Casting has a second model for their The Anointing scene. Fotis Mint has new busts of the Mandalorian, an Ice Dragon, and Treebeard. .3D.ART Guy has a Burned Guy and his mentor, Space Cops, and an Alien Queen. Channel patron Nom Nom Figures has a new 2B model from Nier Automata, as well as Saitama vs. Boros. This is a Wooper Pokemon from Pixel Chronicle Miniatures. Here are two new Chibis from the Nalon Realm, as well as a Bunny Ninja. This is the prototype, Alex Mercer from Arj Kolobas. Here are the last two September models from Isekai Heavy Industries, as well as the first two from October. Channel patron Man I Love Figures has 7 new characters this month, most of them with multiple poses. BT Minis has new Garo robes, a Garo Master, Shadow Beasts, and more. .3DP Miniatures has 4 new modern city folk and several TV personalities. Here is the completed September set from Ethan Savage, as well as a peek at October, including Vash, Inuyasha, an Attack on Titan trio, and Kasumi. Ushin Cat goes to ReaperCon, a free download from Capsule Chibi. Legion Miniatures has a big batch of 14 heroes and villains this month. .3DXM has new Fly Baxter and Bumblebee chibis, as well as a Ninja Turtle and Thor models. These are a Raiden Shogun Boss and Nanachi for October from Rubin. This is a work in progress Bowsette from Dinamu 3D. Big Mr. Tong has new Scoob and the Gang models, as well as the Black Widow's Motorcycle Club, the Queen, and a Drunken Knight. Chibi STL has new Raven, Man-at-Arms, and Juggernaut chibis, as well as Dustin from Stranger Things. Prey Collection Studio has a new Gargoyle, 2 Thunder Kitties, and the Crow. Here is a sitting Charmander from My Poképrints. Channel patron C27 Minis and Terrain has a new Lightning God, Space Alien, and other super beings, as well as some good pieces of terrain and vehicles. Here is a Star Fortress and a large villa from RFI Prints. Christian Frank has some new parts for their Sci Fi terrain set. Dadi Dungeon and Dintorni has new mausoleums, tombstones, and a sanctuary from Salmistia. This is the Popina in Sector 12 from August McDaniel. Orc King has a full set of infernal bases, as well as some FX and wound trackers. This is the completed Cursed Town on the Edge of the Forest from Savant 3D. .3D Hexes has the Jasper Oasis, a set of desert-themed buildings and multi-part shrines. Niverdale Tabletop has new grass, flowers, and crystals for basing bits, as well as a free Throne of Mandalore download. Sable Badger has stone pedestals for statues and Xenos necrotic terrain. Darkest Desire has a dungeon of a different sort this month. Aether Studios has new Mimics, Shark Riders, a Trebuchet, and a whole bunch of terrain. Tiny Furniture Digital has a carpet stall for their October release. Tesseract Tomb has a new set of Sci Fi defensive structures this month. This is part 1 of Emerita, Imperial Suburbs from Sacris Mundus. Sarli Factory has 2 sets of ruins, one ancient, one more modern looking. Here's a work in progress shot of the Ivory Citadel by Dark Realms. Here is the September set from Gamescape 3D, The Witch of Hauntwood Mine, Part 1. Masterwork Tools has new walls, niches, and gated windows for their Dungeon Stone terrain set. The Dragon's Rest has some new additions to their Craggy Keep terrain set. IG has some new tanks, a box truck, hypersonic bomber, and more. KMFP Designs are working on a new offshoot of their orbital knights, the Lunar Knights. Onmyoji has a big mobile altar with demon and acolytes. I'm pretty sure they're small scale. Channel patron Tordo Minis has 6 new units for their Ethereal Covenant army, as well as new mini Blasphemy Marines, heavy weapons, a big Mechanite, and more. For small scale, Red Nebular has Reptar Auxiliary and some Orky jets. Varus Miniatures has some work-in-progress shots for their small-scale greenskins. Greenskin Miniatures have several new units for their King of Sands, Skelly army. Here is a Confederate troop transport and Lord Moloch, as well as some older models that are free now. Force Dragon has a new Reptilian Megadon and Palace Guard, as well as Dire Elf Harpies, Bolt Throwers, and characters. Moose Makes Anything has Imperial Omnicruisers and Elfdar Ancient Medium Tanks. 2 Gargoyle Studio has a Varian Cruiser, as well as several styles of miniature bases. Soulforge Studio has an Orknaut, a greenskin Glory Class Dreadnought. One Page Rules has new Alliance fleet ships for their FTL game. Channel patron Lost Heresy has some unsung heroes of the Docking Bay, as well as a Tentacled Lurker and a Dorngun Noble. Blue Wolf Miniatures has a team of alien smugglers and their smugglin' bus. Faux Figures has alien prisoners, Watto's junkyard, and a couple different alien beasts. Okusa 3D Designs has modular troopers, including jetpacks for sky troopers, as well as a bunch of scatter terrain. The Rebel base build has a new building for Mos Pelgo this month. Black Remnant has a new Chirodactyl, Night Sisters with zombie versions, Asajj Ventress, and more. Squamos Miniatures has a Desert Palace hideout set of interior terrain tiles. Skullforge Studios has new infantry, trench troopers, tanks, and more. Darkfire Designs has an Imperial Starfighter and Inquisitor, as well as a Termination Trooper squad. Cyberforge has a Starforce set coming in October, the Dahar Invasion. Here is Scoob and the Gang from Vault Z, as well as a few others from the end of August. Epic Adventure Miniatures has 2 new Sci Fi Adventurers this month. Print, Paint, and Play has several different species of space aliens. This month's Cyberpunk set from Unit 9 is all about the Black Lotus Triads gang. From channel patron Kyoshuneko Miniatures, this is a Dieselpunk US Marine Corps Army. Downtown 3D Printing is working on a jet and a tank this month. Here is a Wasteland armored car, an Arakocra, a Gaslands vehicle, and more from Crow's Crafts. Mad Ram Designs have some new versions of their Vaquero buggy. Here is a lady in a spacesuit from Bob Naismith. This Char D82mm SPG is a free download from Panzer Printer this month. Here is the first patron commissioned model from Spectre Miniatures. Turn-Based Miniatures is working on a set of high-risk operators this month. Anvil Digital Forge has new Ogre Mechs and a modular autonomous drone builder. K-Scale Models has some new wing and weapon upgrades for your Gunpla. Scorn's Mecha Repository is working on a couple different walkers and spaceships. The Lilanian Industrial Complex has a new Croissant Craft, 3 walkers, and a super heavy tank. DeJong Lewis Advanced Weapons is working on a Warg mech this month. Here's a nice robot and Vodum's Scope Dog, Mechs from Extra Guy. Here's a king crab, a timber wolf, and a Kodiak Prime mech from Matt Mason. Zero Miniatures has an army of modular orcs and gobbos. These are the Sisters of Excess, a great new army from channel patron Fantastical Skulls. .3D Print Cleric is working on a Star Collective Eradicator and the Iron Rot Brigade. Duskgrow Minis has some Space Elves and possibly one Space Dwarf. Here is a Chaplain with a Crozius from Calf Art Studio. Orc Skull Miniatures has some new modular old-style orcs. Oshona Minis has some new shooter bugs and gun arms. For Sci Fi, Reiko Vendetta has new Guards of Rebirth Marines and an alien parasite monster bug. Ratman Forge has a bunch of new sci-fi models, including Heavy Brutes, a Mad Doctor, and many more. This is the M21 multi-gun motor carriage from channel patron Golden Dragon Games. Mecha Miniatures has a new bike with a sidecar and a biker boss, as well as bits and objective marker number 4. Crucible of Games has Celtic Guardians, Commissioner Abrams, and a set of Rough Riders. Channel patron The Hive is coming close to some finished minis with their new Nautica Corsairs army. Diverging Realm has a big walker with lots of options, as well as jet bikes, raptor drones, and more. Red Nebular has new Space Dwarf Exo Armor and more. Drunk Mago Seller is working on new poses for their Bone Guardians. From channel patron The Dork Factory, here is Saint Mechachungus, Gorbot Unkillables, and Techno Demon Infantry. Here are work-in-progress shots of a Big Game Hunter set from Imitation of Life Miniatures. Here's a new Pit Fighter and an Enslaver from House Barteth. Blue Sky Minis has 2 Super Armor Boys and 1 Mid-Boss on a Crusha Beastie. Claybeast Creations have a new Saurian Beast to go with their Starscale Warriors, Lord, and more. Surrogate Miniatures has a new Void Glider set for September. These are an Eldavarian Officer, a Fishmonger, and Duke Hayfew from Knucklebones Miniatures. Daka Daka Store has new Pandemic Demon units, Death Division Grenadiers, Crow Warrior bits, and more. Mr. Modular has the first previews of their gearheads for September, including a portal cannon. Wild Mesh has new Infernus Steelhounds and Gladiator Linebreakers and Annihilators. Gear Guts' Mech Shop has new Iron Crusaders, Bruisers, and lots of tanks and trucks. Sol White Studio has new units for their Covenants of Mars and Scalos Guard armies. Print Minis has new Arrowish Bug Riders, Caledon Fortis Special Weapons Troops, Heavy Lift Cranes, and more. Channel patron Papsikels Miniatures has new Space Rambutans, Proto-Aliens, and Human Colonial Navy for September, with the last frame being previews of October's release. Atlan Forge has new Minoan Snipers and Asgardian Veterans. Station Forge has 3 new units each for their Scavenger and Grimguard armies. Puppets War Miniatures has 2 new Prime Striker Guard sets, as well as Cannon Bugs and Orc Bikers. This is The Cult of Mars, the September Sci Fi release from Gomec. New models from the Maker's Cult includes troop sets, characters, bikers, and additional bits and helmets for a bunch of older models. For Sci-Fi, One Page Rules is still expanding their Saurian Starhost army. Check out the 2 demon armies they're still working on in the Fantasy Warbands section of the video. Here is the Hacking Hunchbacks fantasy football team from Lost Hobbyist Miniatures. Reiko Vendetta has a fantasy football team of Amazonas this month. Here's a High Elf fantasy football team from Hollow Miniatures. Mythbull Studio has part 1 of their Vengeance team. Ugni Miniatures has a Voodoo Ogres team for September, and some previews of what's coming in October. Here are 3 new minis for Punga Miniatures Night Dodgers football team. This is Sam Winston of the Clancy Gang from Gang Fight Games. Maddox Historical has American War of Independence Highlanders, as well as French Indian War and 7 Years' War units. For Historical, Medbury Miniatures has William Wallace and 14th century Scottish swords and spears. Reconquer Designs has a new catapult and Templar banner bearers. Goonmaster Games has a Badger Town and Murder Birds release this month. It's Owlkin and Druid month from Epics and Stuffs, with a few other models as well. These are a completed Ratfolk Sorcerer and a work-in-progress Ratfolk Assassin from Manuel Boria. Dice Heads has a new army of mice and turtles for their Zoomtalis game. Miyake has a Peacock Birdfolk lady. Cobra Mode has a couple new Faxians, along with their Nemesis Warlord and a bunch of his minions. Bite the Bullet has new Batfolk, Dragonfolk, Kenku Brothers, and Market Carts. Caleb Makes Minis has several Musketeers, an Alchemist, and even a mech suit. This is Captain Gelnara from Guardian's Destiny. These Warriors 3 are the September set from We Play Games. From Awkward Penguins Minis, here is a Goblin Lass turned Hero for Hire, and an Ex-Librarian turned Necromancer. Stonehaven Miniatures has a collection of adventurers and a house for them to meet in. Your Neighbor Night Minis has a new Nobleman showing off for the ladies, Admirals, Tiefling Rogues, and more. Hollow Miniatures has some Wood Elves, some of them doubling as fantasy football players. From Zandoria, here is a female Gnome Ranger. Heroes and Beasts Miniatures has a Turtle Merchant and a Cursed Mummy this month. Legend Builds has a new Rogue and 2 sets of civilians for the Realm of Eros. Crosslances has some cartoony new knights, wizards, and a dragon. Collective Studio has a Goblin Invasion with Guardsmen and Scatter Terrain. Fantasy Cult Miniatures has a new Alchemist with his Chariot and Aerocopter. Mammoth Factory has a hunting party of Sylveth and a few of the beasts they're hunting. Twin Goddess Miniatures has new Barbarians, Wizards, Rangers, and more. Bright Minis has started making multi-part minis with male and female warriors, as well as some enemies and terrain. Crippled God Foundry has Quest for the Darkstone, with a couple of big monsters and a bunch of adventurers and their airships. The new Arthurian Legends set from Heroes Infinite includes all your favorite characters, along with several other squads and some terrain. From Avatars of War, here is a Dwarf Berserker and a Dragon Seeker. One gold piece has a Wizard for September, and previews of their Guardians of the Shire for October. These are the Soldiers of Gonthan, along with a couple buildings of the same. Chapter 26 from The Printing Goes Ever On. A Fighter, Monk, and Rogue are the 3 new Titans of Adventure from Titanforge. This is a Frog Crab, a Sharkman, and other creepy creatures from JG Sculpts. Here's Voldoc the Wanderer from Stand Art Painting. Goblin Art Studio has 6 members of their new Troll Gang. This is Ula the Warbride from Phoenix. Here's 3 Orcs and 3 Skellies from Dungeon Dog Miniatures. Stormcrow has 2 new Atogs and a Megatog. Here is Cthulhu, a Basilisk, an Ancient Sphinx, and the Lord of Games from the Surreal Factory. This free download from Uncanny Minis is Malbert Curard, just standing there, menacingly. This is an Ordinaut from Grinning God. These are the Dragons of Avondale from Crypta Studios. Spirit Resin has some Egypt-themed models in their Ancient Sand September set. Miniatures Blueprint has some cosmic horror-themed monsters this month. Here are 3 Drogir Lords from Arcanum Workshop. This is an Augur Velstrak from Maps and Monsters. Admiral Apocalypse has Cursed Ghouls and Scatter Terrain in their Crystal Cave set. Nova Minis has the Court of the Ogre King this month. This is Deep Waters Part 1 from 3DS of Sam. Random Miniatures has an assortment of angry-looking warriors this month. TPK Lab has several adventurers and a bunch of angels and celestial guardians. Here are some of the September spoilers from Galad Miniatures, including a demon, knights, Kenku, and more. Lion Tower Miniatures has some work-in-progress pics of spined devils and an elven sorceress. Print and Paint Miniatures has a bunch of rogues and treasure in their Cloak and Dagger September release. Here are two Mantids from Printed Encounter. Here's 4 new gods from Village's Hope Miniatures, as well as some terrain and a couple beasts. Here are the latest Barbarians and Saber-Toothed Cats from Raven Twin Miniatures. Print Your Monsters has 10 new golem models made of bones, clay, castles, and more. Void Realm Minis has 6 new creepy cosmic horrors from the Cosmic Tree, their September release. This is Beasts of the British Isles Part 2 from Warp Miniatures. Realstone has an interesting assortment of fantasy and sci-fi creatures. Titan Troll Miniatures has new dwarves, goblins, doppelgangers, and more this month. .3D Print Forge has a collection of orcs, blood princes, and more in their Ice Crown Citadel Part 1. Rocket Pig Games has a River Drake, a Terror Fiend, an Astral Annihilator, and more. Across the Realms has a ship full of colonial soldiers with some trappers, bears, and chickens. Flesh of Gods Miniatures has the Grimoires of Madness for September, including monsters, villains, heroes, busts, and more. Schlossbauer has a new Augur model with patron-only versions. These are the Lords of the Mind, Orcs and Frogs from the Black Marsh, and others from Signum Workshop. Duncan Shadow has Goblin Cavalry, a Beastman bust, a multi-part Deep One kit, and more. Ronin Arts Workshop has new insect-themed demons, the Heralds of Light and Harbingers of Twilight. Printed Obsession has the Puppet Master's Apprentice for September. Vevictus Miniatures has some townsfolk and a whole bunch of orcs, including some riding wildcats. Daybreak Miniatures has the Minotaurs of Fell Falls for September. Great Grimoire has the Lodge of the Dark Arts this month, with Necromancers, Witches, the Dragon Heiress, and more. Clay Cyanide Miniatures has a Dante's Inferno set this month. Yasashi Kyojin Studio has a new Magmen, Troglodytes, and Loxodons. This is The Wolf Queen and others from the Call of the Moon September set from DM Stash. For Fantasy Monsters, C27 has a Cockatrice, Magman, Boggle, and Chucklehead. The Dragon Trapper's Lodge has an Oozes vs. Mimics set for September. The September set from White Werewolf Tavern is titled Werewolf Madness. This is Chapter 2 of the Legend of the Dino Tamer set from Mini Monster Mayhem. Also included this month, Chapter 1. Cast and Play has Cosmic Monstrosities this month, with their Fear the Void set. These are Elves of the Abyss, and they mean business, from Gomek. These many monsters from Bestiara Miniatures seem to be the result of a necromancer on the loose in the Deadmire. Here are updates 3, 4, and 5 for Epic Miniatures' Arcane Dungeon set for September. The September set from Lord of the Print is titled Let's Burn the Sacred Forest, with defending creatures and offending humans and giant robots. This is the Grief Harvest Coven from Arch Villain Games. Are you a good witch or a bad witch? These are the Requiem Demon Hunters from Artisans Guild. MZ4250 has 9 new patron requests and 16 new Monsters of the Multiverse. That Granny Barbarian fantasy football team from earlier, well, that doubles as a warband from Lost Hobbyist Miniatures. Gadgetworks Miniatures has more of their Scourge of the Steppes, as well as an amphitheater and gladiator helmet. Sculptuner has 3 new shamans and some forest-themed scatter terrain. These land sharks are the September set from Blue Wyvern, as well as several exclusive rewards. Here are some Sons of Destruction Mastines, Warhounds from Reiko Vendetta Studio. This is a warband of cultists from Magori Miniatures. Vinci Miniatures has finished up their Ratfolk Bombardiers. These are their Bomber Scryer Ratmen. These are the Strongroot Evergrove army from Battle Yak Miniatures. Dragon's Lake Miniatures has a modular diorama throne room for September, as well as a preview of the modular Saurian Warriors. Ilhadiel has a bunch of new wizards, spirits, hunters, and more for their Order of the Ancients army. Labyrinth Models has previews up for most of their Magitech Empire set coming in October. Medbury Miniatures has elves, orcs, dwarves, and men for their fantasy release. Here's an army of High Elves from channel patron Kyoshuneko Miniatures, with nobles, archers, spears, eagles, and more. Edge Miniatures has finished up their Hellbeast Demon army, and have started work on a new Water Elves army. Fleshcraft Studio has a new Court of Ruin, Army of Ghosts. Diwali Games has a bunch of new Bloody Elves, as well as a Silver Goat Dwarves banner, and Snake Army Assassin. This is Bjorn, the Duke of Avernia, along with his ducal guard and a couple of griffins. These are the brave and robust Dwarves of Niavellir from Lost Kingdom Miniatures. Here's the final Sons of Ymir model for September from Highlines Miniatures, as well as previews of their Spooktober Skellies coming next month. Titanforge has a new Dragon Empire army this month. Here are two armies, Plague Demons and Change Demons from one-page rules, along with some terrain, bases, and more. That's all for now. Huge thanks to all my patrons on Patreon. It's still paused, but I really appreciate all the support they have given me up until now. Sorry the video is so late again. I moved mid-month and didn't have internet for a week. I hope to release another Patreon preview next month, hopefully much earlier in the month, but really don't hold your breath on that one. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the videos, and thanks for watching!